Good evening everyone, I am Nirmala. I am working as assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Today I am going to explain about designing integration test and integration test planning. So the integration testing means testing two or more integrated system in order to make sure that our system is working properly. So not only all the integration links should be tested, but the exhaustive testing should be also performed considering our environment, and it should be performed so that we can make sure that our system works properly. So the integration testing test plan. So the integration test procedure, it is irrespective of the software strategies. First we need to prepare a plan for the integration test. Next one, we need to design all the test cases, test scenarios, as well as the test script for our integration testing, and we need to execute all our test cases by reporting all our defects which is occurring during our integration testing, and we need to track and we need to retest all the defects which is identified while performing the testing. And these step 3 as well as the step 4 should be repeated until our integration testing is becoming successful. So the brief description about the integration test plans, it needs to include certain attributes. First we need to identify all the methods and the approaches which is used in the testing, and we need to find out the scope and the out of the scope which is presented during our integration testing, and we need to identify the roles and the responsibilities, the prerequisites of integration testing, and in which environment our integration testing is going to perform, and we need to identify the risk and the mitigation plans. So entry and the exit criteria of integration testing. So entry and the exit criteria for the integration testing in any software development model. Entry criteria: unit tested components as well as the modules will be tested in this integration testing. The high priority bug should be fixed and closed as soon as possible, and all the modules which is implemented in our project should be successfully it should go through this integration testing, and we need to we need to give the test plan, test case and test scenarios once it is signed off, and in which environment our integration testing is taking place. So these are the entry criteria for the integration testing. Exit criteria: the successful testing of a particular application, we need to write all the executed test cases. These executed test case must be documented, and we need to identify the highly prioritized bugs, and we need to close it as soon as possible. The technical document should be followed released by the release of the notes. So there are certain steps to kick off the integration testing. We need to understand the architecture of our application, and we need to identify the modules. We need to understand what each and every module does in our particular application. We need to understand how our data is getting transferred from one module to the another. We need to understand how our data is entered and how it is received in the system. We need to check the entry as well as the exit point of our application. We need to segregate the applications based upon our testing needs. We need to identify and create the testing condition. It should be executed one module should be executed one at a time, and we need to write down the test cases based upon our modules. Integration test cases. Integration test cases, mainly it is focusing on the total number of the modules, our integration links, your data transfer between the modules or the components which is tested in the unit testing, and the functionality as well as the other testing aspects should be covered in our integration testing. The main idea of the integration testing is to check whether two or more modules simultaneously is working properly or not, and it is working as expected or not. For example, we are going to write the integration testing for our LinkedIn application. We need to verify the interface link between the login page and the home page. When a user credential is entered, it should be automatically log into that particular home page, and we need to verify the interface link between the home page and the profile page. Once the details are entered, the profile page should be open up. We need to verify the interface link between the network page and your connection page. That is, we need to accept the button of the interface network page, and it should show the accepted invitation in your response. And we need to verify the interface link between the notification pages and the congrats button. It should pop up a message called as a congrats once it is directed towards a new message window. So these are the certain differences between the unit testing and the integration testing. So in this unit testing, each and every component is tested individually, while as the integration testing we'll be testing together as a component. Whether two or more modules is working simultaneously properly or not, everything is done in this integration testing. And this one unit testing is faster to execute because a particular module is executed, whereas in this integration testing it is slow. So no external dependency, and here it requires the interaction between the external dependencies like database, hardware, etc. It is very simple, where it is complex because it involves the integration of the modules. So this unit testing is always conducted by the developer, whereas it is conducted by the tester. So it is a type of a white box testing strategy, and this one is a type of black box testing strategy. So it should be carried out in the initial phase of the testing, and it can be performed at any time. It should be carried out once the unit testing is completed and before the system testing. So it is a very low cost maintenance, it is a expensive maintenance. So it always begins from the module specification, and it begins from the interface specification. So it is a narrow space approach. So a single piece of a code is need to be checked, and whether it is working accordingly or not. So it has a wider scope, it covers the whole application. The outcome of the unit test is detailed in the visibility of the code. The outcome of the integration testing is the detailed visibility of the integration structure. That's it. Thank you.